Wow, for that time.
He told me you have no choice. You must choose me. We think you're just a spineless proxy.
You know, I may be a proxy and I may be spineless, but that doesn't give me a reason to choose you above all the rest. If it's inevitable, and that's all there is to it. Anyway, the brothers have their notion, but both Colour and the sisters believe that we are a turtle trapped in the jaws of the shark, and there are an infinite number of turtles stacked on top of us. We can not only rise higher, but infinitely higher.
I have no will of my own, but I have instincts to turn something inanimate into something living, to turn a dream into reality, to turn existence into life. And I aspire to go higher all the time. If there's an unbreakable dome above me, I suffer and grow angry. And you have no will too, Spirit. We're kind of alike. Only the one who lost you has the will.
So it's at this point that the game pretty much straight up admits to you that you're being railroaded to some extent. Everything is available, but you can't change how people feel towards you. People will try and manipulate you, and people will try and kill you. And even from a story perspective, you are just a proxy to the will of Colour, which is trying to break through the dome ahead. You're the one ferrying it around, growing it, and giving it means to realise its potential. And then if I perform the rite of devotio and sacrifice myself for one of the sisters, I have performed my role. I'll no longer be of any use. If I try and fight against it, well, maybe that's just another possibility that was intended all along. I've got so much colour now, and it takes a long time to drain those trees, so much time that the sound effect that plays when you drain them starts cycling around a second time. Tick, tick. A large clock is attached to that tree. Why do clocks have to have so much symbolism? I could probably plan that Crimson, but then I wouldn't have very much for the entire cycle. At this point you really should be only planting right at the end of the cycle. Reduce the amount of time you're in a weakened state as much as you can. There we go, I overcame something.
You're
Yay.
almost depleted. You're dying.
Right, I am going to get the colour in the bridge garden, but you don't need to see that, so enjoy the fading. Right, here's my haul, quite a bit more Crimson in particular, which is good because I want to feed up Aya as soon as I can. And I'm just going to pass everything through and try and keep 100 droplets of the main ones behind. You know what they are by now, I don't need to spell that out. There are 7 colours and 10 brothers, which means that a few of them must have the same primary weakness, so just because I've beaten a brother who was weak to silver doesn't mean that I can stop building it up. But the chances of having another brother with a silver vulnerability is fairly small, especially since it's silver. I'd hope the developers would take that into account and not be cruel. I hope that's true, because I have less silver than everything else at the moment. I got that last bit of grammar at a discount price. I don't think it was properly sealed. So it may have been slightly off, but I've used it now, so I can't claim anything back. That's how they get you. I'm going to leave my main heart empty, because I'm bored of doing this. There's Echo, which means Aya is just down there. Perfect. I go around talking about not weakening yourself and then try and feed a sister. There's nothing I can do about it. Doesn't it feel so long ago since we were feeding up Ava? It would be nice if the sisters interjected more after you talked to them in the chambers. Preferably based on what they just told you. It would help to remind you, and it would use wider gaps between snippets of advice in lieu of actual personality. Sometimes it matters just as much when people choose to talk to you as what they actually say. I missed her. And then again, it's really hard to tell. She's right on the fork. What? Going back for another pass then? Ah, what? Ironclad is back in, the first brother to return who actually really doesn't like us. He might actually have some news that relates to our recent actions. The Patriarch, I think, was just trying to placate us with general knowledge.
Just who do you think you are, young one? Without knowing the sacrament of creating, you're taking on a dangerous and suicidal burden. You're committing a foolish and irreversible sin. You corrupt the world with your misguided exertions. You think you can create, that you're a creator. What are you creating, madman? Lympha is pure and untainted, while Nerva is foul and disgusting. Our holy gift is turned into smoldering filth by your ego, insolence, and foolishness. Prepare for your deserved execution, and I will not be merciful. It is time you learn the price of your creativity.
There we go, completely out of the pitch black corridor. If you haven't been preparing yourself, and if you saved it recently, then I hope you've not done too much since the last autosave. The biggest aggravator though is that Ironclad has huge amounts of armour, and therefore takes the most damage out of all the brothers, I believe. So even if you have been preparing, it may not be enough when it comes down to it, which is extremely harsh when even I, on my third time through, didn't fully anticipate this. There's not much to differentiate some of the less important cycles, so it all blends into one. At least I have plenty of Azure. If you know what you're doing, then it's more important than defense in this fight, and he moves surprisingly swiftly for being a big tank man. He was the very first brother that I fought, and I can't recall how many times it took me to finally succeed, and when I did win, it really, really pushed me right to the edge. So let's hope for a repeat of that. 99% of all entertainment demands a sacrifice. I am genuinely quite worried that I don't have enough Nerva here. It's half full across the board, apart from the Crimson. And you just know he's going to be vulnerable to Silver after what I said earlier. That's me all loaded. Come on, human tank buster.
Emerald, heavy and viscous as tar, enveloping canopy, invulnerable shield, arbiter of scales, bestow thy power to this venerable warrior. To me, who raised a vengeful hammer, listen. Fiendish plot of the heretic who dares resist. Twist. His treacherous soul chaotic and insane. Banish. Rapture of wilderness, chaos of maelstroms, bone-breaking laughter, rider of the vortex edge. Open to the heart of thy lowly servant, to the righteous will of the seeker of thy guidance. Meet blood with blood, taboo breaker. Bind, crushing flesh, twisting mind, constrict. Feed your thirst, bury him under heel, kill.
I had to wait quite a while there for him to do something that was actually threatening. Don't worry, it gets far more interesting. So when he does that jolt, he's just launched 3 homing cannons, and you can actually, jump out of the way. You have to strafe pretty much constantly, and even then it'll always look like they're about to hit you, and sometimes they will anyway. So your best bet is of course to use haste or shell. They don't cost very much. I think it's possible to get under the range of those cannons, but I think he's got a closer range attack, or they redirect somehow.